Hello traders, it's March 18th, Douglas on Trading here. I'm going to go over a couple of nice volume profile setups on this day. We're going to go over a trade I took in gold in the GC, and then we're going to go over a couple good setups over in the ES if you're a fan of massive moves and volatility. All right, so let's get into it. So I recorded in the background, you'll see another mouse moving around back there because this is a recording of my trade earlier in the day on the GC. And let's get this playing. So you'll see I'm in the trade, and I've got two things going. If you look over at Bookmap, I've got this highlighted area is thicker liquidity here, and it was in an area of dead volume right here. All right, so I thought that that would be a good opportunity, that maybe those sellers that have set up right here would have enough force to push this down. And with volume profile, what I like to play is either areas of exceptional dead volatility or high volatility. So if you look up here a little higher up here, you'll see this big volume node. That would have been a nice play. So I just got out. That was, I believe, 20 ticks right there. And then unfortunately, it didn't work out the way I wanted. I was hoping it was going to come down here and get me. This might have been 40 to 60 ticks. I can't remember, but volatility picked up right here. I didn't like what it was doing. So I closed out the trade and took a measly, I don't know if that was 9 ticks there. Might have only been 6. But anyway, so we got out, and just to protect ourselves, and then it starts moving back and forth through here. Quite a bit, and kind of hangs out in this dead volume zone. And so we'll skip through this video. You can see it comes back. I considered playing this a few times, but if you look over here in the Bookmap with these huge areas of liquidity, I mean, I could have taken some quick scalps off here, but a lot of times when I see people jump in like this, they end up just being fodder for a move through them. Like, they'll just get eaten up, and then price will spike. So I was a little worried about that. And this area of dead volatility is quite large. I mean, you can see the obvious weakest point here, but it kind of travels all the way up here. So, I was a little worried that at this point we would just break through and start moving up through this zone, and that these guys would get defeated. And they do end up getting defeated. We'll move through, and you can see that a little bit. I could have taken maybe a couple little scalps out of this back to the downside, for instance, right there. But I was really waiting for this 116 to get beat to make it up to the 506, the amount of people in the book here, before I took any trade. And then once that happened, I just wasn't comfortable with it. So we'll keep moving forward. Make this quick. So this is over on the ES right here. You can see this big volume node right here. This would have been a great one for me to actually play. It comes into play 3 times. All right, and so price dies here 3 times. Great setups. I've been mostly, well, completely really avoiding the ES with real money. With sim money, oh, I can tear it up all day long with that sim fake money. But let's move through. This is gold again, kind of pushing down off that again, but then it comes up and it eats through it. Let's see when that happens here. Well, I'm back at the ES. And you can see that the ES even has some liquidity here to back up that volume node. So I kept kind of keeping my eye on the ES to see what it would end up doing. Let's keep moving forward. So there's gold right here. Gold, we broke through those 116 traders or contracts that were sitting here, and now we're up at the 505 contracts. So my little theory that these guys would get eaten alive was true. And that's when the ES crashes over here on that big volume node. It starts really busting through and heading down. And then gold, you can see, is pushing up. Now it ends up dying right here and coming back down and then getting hung up a little bit. So there you go. So there's the ES, and hang with me. I'll show you the aftermath of all of this. I'm just going through the recorded, the previous recorded version here in a minute. Okay, so that's gold kind of hangs out in that area. So let's kill this for now, and we'll bring up the aftermath of all this. So here is the ES. What we were looking at on the video was this section right here. That's what you were seeing, okay? And as you can see, it comes through. It never gets above what I like to call the volume shelf. This little big drop off on volume into this dead zone area. It never really gets up in there. It kind of peaks up in there a little bit, comes back down. It doesn't look like a big move, but with the volatility right now, looks are deceiving. That is a huge move. That's, let's see here. Let's say realistically, you know, you could have got in at like 23.73. There's 10 full points right there before it pulls back up. Comes right back to the very tip of that volume shelf, drops again, another like 10 points or more, comes back up right into that volume shelf, drops down again. That's the biggest move. You know, you got maybe 15 ticks out of that one if you were hitting it just right. And then what do you know? You know, it comes up, it pushes through without any problem, comes down, bounces off of it, bounces off of this high area of liquidity right here, previous volume, previous volume, and then crashes through again. So the volume profile was rolling pretty good today. Let's go see what the gold ended up doing. So gold kind of hung up in a range quite a bit. Like I said, this dead volume was quite a large area, and it hangs out in there for a while, comes through, and then on this bar, you know, it kind of gets hung up there. Comes back, retests, all this kind of stuff until it finally makes it through. But you can see that this was the zone to be watching. And all this was in advance. None of this was after the fact. You didn't have to wait for an indicator or anything like that to trigger some kind of crossover or something. All of these volume points, these high levels of volume and extreme low levels of volume, they were all there well in advance, so you could start picking out where you want to take your opportunities. And as I always say with volume profile, you don't know what direction it's really going to go in, but for the most part, you do know that you should be getting a big enough move to make it worth your while. All right, guys, that's it for me. Peace out.